Hello! Howdy. Hi, everybody. Sam Goodman. Really fucking scary stories. How do you like that? I like that one. That's pretty good. I'm excited. Well, I'm excited, and I'm bummed, and I'm all of the above. I'm excited, I'm bummed, I'm proud, I've had a blast. And I say all that because here we are. We're here. We made it. Episode 10. The final episode of season 3 of really fucking scary stories. Can you believe that we're already at the end of season 3? We worked all the way through that preseason goodness. We worked through 10 really fucking scary stories. And we're here. Well, 9, and now we're on 10. This is our last one for this season. But you know what comes after season 3, right? 1, 2, 3. Season 4 will be back in the spring, and we'll try to sprinkle some stuff in between. You know how we do around here. You know how we do. We can't stay away for that long. So, season 4 will be the same. We'll do some preseason, we'll do some postseason. And after this one, I will say for season 3, we do have some postseason stuff coming in all of its glory, like Q&A stuff and some recap and some different stuff like that, whatever we feel like peppering in there. So now's your last chance. If you have some questions for Q&A, if you have something that we would like to share, head on over to www.palehorsemedia.co. Use that handy-dandy contact box to let us know. It's a super easy way to get a hold of us. You can head over to sugoodman.com as well, or any of our websites, and use those contact forms to let us know. And speaking of which, we are brought to you by Pale Horse Media Co. We're broadcasting to you. I guess we're not broadcasting to your ear holes. We're recording so that you can listen in your ear holes at a later date here at the Pale Horse Media Co. studios in the sunny and the beautiful and the creepy downtown Phoenix, Arizona. So if you want to show some love for the shows, just head on over to the websites. You can listen to the podcast. As I said, you can get into contact. And if you're into like really cool, really fucking scary, really kind of weird t-shirts, we make those, so you can go pick up stuff from the merch store. That's a really fun way to show us some love, show us some support. But the easiest and the freest way to show love for the podcast is just by scrolling down in your little podcast catcher app thing, leaving us some stars, writing us a review, taking these links and putting them over onto your Facebook, onto your Instagram, onto your Parlor. I don't know, wherever you do kind of people-y stuff in the social media world, share it. Or just in passing conversation, just walk up to a stranger on the street. Just walk up to them, and I guess you have to, maintain at least a little bit of social distance. Make sure you're like quadruple masked up and be like, hey, listen, there's this guy that has a really, that's the mask if you can't tell. There's this guy that has this really fucking scary podcast, and it's really, really, really good, and you should check it out. Just go search Pale Horse Media Co. on your podcast catcher, or search really fucking scary stories. Or he has a hot nerd too, which is really good if you do like professional work or you work in like high risk industries. And he's got one where he just rants, which is, hey y'all, what's not good? Okay, bye. You should totally do that. Or just tell your friends, your family, those that are inside of your bubble of protection, running from the pandy still, right? We're still all kind of dealing with pandy stuff just a little bit, but make sure, if you're still into the pandy, let me say that. Let me throw that in there. If you're still into the pandy stuff, but just share it. That helps us a lot. If you're subscribed, if you review, if you share it with folks, that stuff helps us a ton. And then if you feel like heading over to the merch store and you want to get a little way to show your love and support, again, cool stuff happening over there. But man, I am excited. It should come through that I'm excited. I'm like, rah, rah, rah. I'm so pumped that we've made it here. And it's just days, just a handful. There's like 2-ish. My math is probably wrong. I'm not good at math. But Halloween is right here. We're at my most favorite time of the year. And so that makes my excitement that much better. That's like all this fucking excitement from getting through season 3 and sharing all this really cool stuff. It's just like this, it's this beautiful like ice cream cone. And now we've just poured a pound of rainbow sprinkles on top of it because Halloween is here. This is Halloween. It's here. And it is. Let me just say that. Out of the holidays, I love holidays just in general. I just love spending time with family. I love kind of the atmosphere around the holidays of just kind of togetherness and all of that stuff. And Halloween is just like the perfect combo of those things, right? Because you get to like dress up, you get to be all kind of wacky, you get to put out the spooky stuff around the house. And I mean, you can put it out all year long. And I have a little bit of spooky stuff here and there, kind of the macabre collection that graces the walls of my house. But you can put that stuff out without people going, oh, Sam's a fucking weirdo, right? So you can throw that stuff out. You can let your freak flag fly. You can dress up as anything you want to. And I don't know what I'm going to dress up as. That's kind of my predicament every single year. I never know what I'm going to dress up as. I would love to hear what you're going to dress up as. That would be super cool. So again, slide into those DMs, slide into those contact boxes, and let me know your ideas for me. Let me know what you're going to dress up as. I just love this. I just love this whole thing. I love Halloween parties. I love all those stuff. And so I will just throw this out here. Like, I've always had this dream. And this is Sam being like super vulnerable and for real. And I guess it's not vulnerable, but I want to dress up one year as Frankenfurter. So I love the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So, and that should just go without even asking. You should know that, and you should too. I'm not like a musical sing-song kind of movie person, but that movie is just, I watch it constantly. I love it. It's always on the Halloween list. It's always there. It'll be on the Halloween list this year. So over this weekend, I'll be catching up on all my favorite horror movies and revisiting them. So maybe one year, I don't know if this year is the year. It's you gotta be rocking some serious self-confidence, and that is it. You have to be super, you got to let it all hang out if you're going to go as Frankenfurter, right? Dr. Frankenfurter. And so one of these years, maybe this is the year. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'll keep you posted. Maybe we can bring that up in postseason. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But so I've ranted about Halloween. I've ranted about how happy I am that, we've done season 3. It's awesome. It's fucking cool. I hope you enjoyed it, even just a little bit, as much as I did, and we're in good shape, because you can tell this is just my thing. I just love podcasting in general, and I love all the podcasts that we have, all the topics that I get to chat about. It's just, I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd for this stuff. So with that being said, with that nerdy side coming out, today we're going to talk about the real deal story, the history, if you will, behind what we call Halloween. So I'm going to say this just one more time. I really fucking love Halloween. Just all of the cool stuff that's happening from, time with friends, getting to dress up. We've got a little one, so she's way into it as well. The whole trick-or-treating thing. Just seeing all the cool decorations. The neighborhoods here in Phoenix are always decked out. I mean, absolutely decked out. 2020 was kind of fucking rough for Halloween, right? That kind of sort of sucked. There was still a lot of really cool decorations. There were some really cool ways of socially distanced trick-or-treating that we got to see, because we did. I mean, I know, ooh, scary. But we did go and do a little bit of trick-or-treating, masked up, socially distanced, all that kind of sort of stuff. And it was okay, but it just wasn't like, my normal Halloween jam. It just wasn't. It just wasn't the same. But I just love all things Halloween, especially when you go and you're trick-or-treating, you see these fucking epic yards, kind of all the decorations, see all the kids running around having a blast. You see the adults having just as much fun. And that's probably one reason why it's so cool. And that's probably one reason why it stuck with me so much, is that, you get to enjoy it as a kid like a blast, but you get to enjoy it just as much as an adult. It's not just like a kid thing. Right? It's not just, for one person or the other. Everyone can come together and have such an amazing time. And I think one of the coolest parts about it, for me, about Halloween, is you can be anything that you want. For one night out of the year, you can be anything, anyone, any person that you want. And you couple that with, of course, copious amounts of chocolate and candy and sweets. And then you couple that, yet again, with this notion of kind of just this little razor line of fear that's always there on Halloween, right? You know how Halloween is, right? Like the eve of Halloween, All Hallows Eve. You just, even in the funnest, brightest settings, there's always this little underlying thing of, okay, this is creepy, it's macabre, it's kind of this little scary. It's always just a little scary. But with all of my love of Halloween aside, let's actually jump into a little bit of what Halloween is, kind of where it come from, and then we'll do some like Halloween high-level fun facts kind of at the end, and we'll call this our episode 10 of season 3, our Grand Halloween Shindig, and we'll call it all good. So, as we know, Halloween is a holiday that is celebrated each year, October 31st. The tradition originated with some ancient festivals, and people would basically light bonfires, wear costumes. They did a lot of this to ward off ghosts, and it was a lot of fun. And then, of course, anytime they have kind of pagan-y things, the church sort of gets involved, and then Pope Gregory III designated November 1st as a time to honor all saints, and then all of a sudden, All Saints kind of become incorporated into that, and then that become All Hallows Eve. And then later on, it kind of evolved into what we know now of like costumes and trick-or-treating and carving of jack-o'-lanterns and gatherings and eating treats and kind of all of that stuff. But Halloween's origins date all the way back to ancient Celtic festivals, a festival known as Samhain. So I'm going to try to think I'm pronouncing that right. I looked up the pronunciation, and I'm pretty sure it's Samhain. It's either Samhain or Samhain. So let's just go with Samhain. And it's spelled Samhain. It's a Celtic festival. The Celts who lived about 2,000 years ago, mostly in the area, as we know now, as Ireland, the UK, and northern France, celebrated their new year on November 1st. This day basically marked the end of summer and the harvest and the beginning of the dark, cold winter, and this time was often associated with human death. So let's just say we've got quite a bit of a leg up compared to what people had about 2,000 years ago, especially the folks, the Celts. It was much rougher, right? You kind of go through the spring and the summer, you do all your harvesty type of things, kind of in the fall, and you're getting ready for the cold, dark winter that is approaching. And the winter time with the cold, with the lack of the ability to grow things, with the lack of food, and let's just say you had like a shit harvest, right? Let's say maybe the fields didn't yield quite what we wanted to yield. Somebody's starving to death. Somebody's freezing to death. So there's bad things happening, just not good. They didn't have quite the same ability of like central air in the supermarket that we have nowadays, kind of our modern day privilege that we have now. So that time of year was often associated with not so good things like death. The Celts believed that on the night before the new year, the boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead would become blurred. On the night of October 1st, they celebrated Samhain. This is when it was believed that the ghosts of the dead returned to Earth. In addition to causing trouble and damaging crops, the Celts thought that the presence of the unworldly spirits made it easier for the Druids, or Celtic priests, to make predictions about the future. So they're like tapping into the psychic energy, basically, of the dead. And at this time of the year, with that barrier blurred a little bit, they could look into the future and kind of see what was coming. For a people entirely dependent upon the volatile natural world, these prophecies were an important source of comfort during those months of death, those long, dark winter months. To commemorate the event, Druids built these huge sacred bonfires where people would gather to burn crops, animal sacrifices, basically to their deities. And during these celebrations, the Celts would wear costumes, typically consisting of animal heads, skins, and they attempted to tell each other's fortune. So again, the barrier's blurred, they're dressing up, so it all kind of sounds familiar a little bit, at least the costume part. And with this barrier blurred, with this psychic energy, this storm of dead energy, I guess, they felt that they could actually do better at telling people's fortunes. When the celebration was over, they relit their hearth fires, which they had extinguished earlier in the evening, from the sacred bonfire, right? So you had the sacred bonfire, their hearth fires were already out. They would come over, and from that sacred bonfire, they would use that fire to light the fireplaces in their house to protect them during the coming winter. So pretty crazy, right? And it sounds extremely familiar, and you can kind of already start to draw those lines to where some of our current traditions come from. But by 43 AD, the Roman Empire had conquered the majority of the Celtic territory. In the course of the 400 years that they ruled Celtic lands, two festivals of Roman origin were combined with the traditional Celtic